Podcasting from the Sound of Freedom Studios, this is Local Politics. This episode is sponsored by Cartwheel Communications, web development, e-commerce, and SEO that leaves a lasting impression. This question and answer session is sponsored by the Texas Tri-County Chamber of Commerce. The TriCo vision is to build opportunities with a strong foundation and foster economic prosperity for Texas Tri-County communities. Here we are, 2023, meet the candidate for the Shirt-Cibolo Universal City ISD election. Place 1, Board President Jerry Perkins is running unopposed. Place 2, Robert Westbrook has not filed to run for re-election. Of course, he's running for Shirts City Council. Wish him the best of luck, of course. This leaves place 2 vacant, and we have 2 people that have filed for place 2, Margret Carlin and Albert Ramirez. And in place 3, Letitia Seaver will retain her seat because she's running unopposed. So here we are today in the Sound of Freedom studio, and we're going to focus today on Albert and Margret because those the place 2 is the people of Shirts, Cibolo, Universal City, and all the people that live Selma. Some of the Selma residents get to vote. All those people that are living inside the Shirts, Cibolo, Universal City ISD bubble get a chance to come vote in this election. So we're lucky to have our candidates here in the Sound of Freedom studio. Some voting information real quick. The last day to register to vote is Tuesday, October 10th. First day to early vote is Monday, October 23rd. Last day to early vote is Friday, November 3rd, and Election Day, of course, this year is Tuesday, November 7th. We'll see everybody down under the Oak Tree and Elbow Road voting location. Of course, there's other locations. There's election information on the Guadalupe County election website and the Shirt-Cibolo ISD website, and we'll have those links down below. So after you like and subscribe, then you can move on to reading our amazing content. All right, so this is it. This is our question and answer session. So I'm going to read the questions, and each candidate will have 3 minutes to answer their questions. So, question 1, what is your name, and can you tell us about yourself?
Yes, my name is Albert Ramirez. I am a resident of Cibolo, Texas. I've been a real estate agent for the past 4 years. I retired from the United States Air Force after serving honorably for 20 years. I have a beautiful wife, Mary Lou Ramirez. Some of the kids might know her because she used to teach at Slaughter Intermediate School. She was an amazing math teacher. She taught 5th grade. Then I have 2 boys who are honor students, part of the National Honor Society. The smartest kids I've ever known. They put me in my place all the time because they're so smart. But they're 8th grade Adobe and 9th grade at Still High School.
My name is Margret Carlin. I'm an IT professional and have a passion for education. In my career, I actually worked at a place of employment that did tuition reimbursement, and so I was a full-time student for several years where I completed an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree in electronic technology, and also a master's degree in organizational leadership and ethics.
All right, question 2. Why are you running for the SCUCISD Board of Trustees?
It's in my nature and my family's nature to serve our community. When I enlisted in the United States Air Force, it was something that I thought I should do. I have a military family. I had a uncle who served in the Korean War. My brother served in the Marines, and I had another uncle who served in the Navy, and I thought, I need to do my time, so I served in the Air Force. But then 9/11 happened, and it was at the point where I was either going to get out or stay in. I thought, I can't get out. I gotta do something about what happened to us. It was a difficult time for us. Had I known at the time that the war was going to last my whole career, it would have been a tougher decision. But to stay in, that was a no-brainer. I had to stay in. And when I was in the Air Force, I deployed. I served in Afghanistan, and I served honorably those 20 years. There were times where I had to leave my wife. When I deployed, I left her while she was pregnant. And our son at the time was only 13 months old. So it was very difficult to look at her and say, hey, this is something we got to do. But if I don't come back, please let the boys know that this is the example I want to leave for them, is that we do have to serve sometimes for a greater good, for a country that I believe in. And that's basically why I'm running now. I feel like the schools need good representation. They need somebody who's going to be able to help them. I feel like the schools are facing a lot of challenges, if you want to call them challenges. My wife was a teacher, so it wasn't as simple as just seeing the challenges. She brought them home. I saw how hard she worked, and I would compare her workload to the times when I was deployed. She would wake up at 5 a.m, go all the way till 5 p.m. because she would stay late. Come home, eat something for dinner, go take a power nap for an hour and a half, then get up and get ready for the next day. And she would prepare a lesson till 11, maybe 12 o'clock at night, go to sleep and wake up 5 hours later. And she did that year round, year after year. When COVID hit, not only did she have to do that, but she had to do video lessons as well for the kids who were at home. And I don't know how she got through it, but she did, because she's a person who has a lot of resiliency and perseverance. And now that she's taking some time off, I thought, hey, I think maybe I should give it a shot, and maybe I can serve the community on the school board.
So I think that there are a lot of misconceptions about what a school board does. And while being a trustee in the school board is just one of 7 people, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And one of them is advocacy. And so I believe that the people in the community, whether it be teachers, students, business owners, homeowners, whoever it may be that has a vested interest in this community, that they have a voice that should be heard. And I'm here for that. I've been in advocacy roles at work for employee satisfaction feedback. I understand the responsibility and the need to keep to relay information as accurately as possible, and that's something that I intend to do.
Question 3: What makes SCUC a great school district?
Oh, that's the community, the teachers, the people. We start with the schools. In real estate, people will tell me, hey, where is SCUC? And I was like, well, it's in Schertz and Cibolo. And there's also Selma, and there's also St. Hedwig. And like, well, that's where I want to live. I can't tell you how many times they do that. And that's because we've built a reputation from the leaders of the past who have built this city to make it what it is. And I think it's important to maintain that greatness. We've had such a great reputation. And we do honor to those who worked hard in the past to not only build it and maintain it, but not let it go, because the schools are number one. I think it starts with the schools. People are willing to live in a house that's not the best if they have a good school. The teachers are top notch. My wife, she's taught in different districts throughout the city. And she told me when she first started at Schertz Cibolo School District, she was like, hey, I don't stand out here. All these teachers, I'm one amongst many who are great. And my wife, she's not like just an ordinary person. She was valedictorian of her class. She was top of her college class. She was the first to graduate from her college, from Texas Tech University, from her family. She got her master's degree in UTSA. So for her to say, hey, I'm just an ordinary person at SCUC, that says a lot about the faculty and the staff that's there. So
first of all, I've got to say that it's a great community. And so people in the community participate and make it a better district. And so I love the involvement, the business sponsorships, for scholarships, for whatever it may be. The people rally around the schools, and I think it's very motivating.
Question 4: Have you served on any committees in the area, or do you belong to any organizations?
So not in the school district committees. I've served in the capital improvements plan in Cibolo, and I also serve in my local church. I do a lot of fundraising. I'm in the band booster club, which is kind of like a committee. But if you guys ever get a chance to go to the Steele High School band shows. It's like a traveling circus. It's amazing. And what's even more amazing is that the adults are like, they're happy. The kids are happy. You never hear anyone arguing. They do, I don't know, they must move about, I would say 10,000 pounds of equipment every Friday afternoon just to get to a show. And they do it with a smile. And it's amazing to see that. And that's the heart of the community. That's who we are. We're a great community. We band together. And the Still High School, I mean, the football team, I don't know if you guys got to see a game, but these guys rock. I mean, they're amazing. I want to go see Clemens. They're doing pretty good too. They're a good team as well. But that's who we are as a community. It's a bunch of top-notch high achievers who are working to be the best.
Currently, I do not belong to any organizations. So when I moved to Schertz in 2014, my husband and I moved from the Austin area. We were both very interested in getting involved in this community. Unfortunately, months after we moved, he passed away unexpectedly. And so that left me with a period of time that I had to rely on education to continue to move forward and not be a victim of my circumstances. And so that's when I changed from semiconductor industry into IT. And I used the power of education to help get me into something that would pay well and something that I would enjoy doing. I've always had soft and hard skill combination type work, which I love.
Question 5. What are the most pressing issues facing SCUCISD?
From a personal view, I would say teacher burnout is a concern. Budgeting is a concern, but teacher burnout for me is top priority because there was a time when my wife wanted to apply. When we first got here, we got here in 2013, and she wanted to apply for SCUC. But there was a waiting list, and they basically told you either someone retires or someone passes away if you want to get into that school district, or you have to know somebody. And she waited several years. That's not the case anymore. In fact, I pulled it up. Right now, currently, there's 19 teacher positions open that are unfilled. So there's either a long-term sub that's filling that position or a teacher who's not certified. And we do, when I'm talking about non-certified teachers, it's a teacher who's working towards getting that certification. SAUC would never, in the past, didn't hire non-certified teachers because there was such a need to want to work there. Recruitment was no issue at SCUC. But now, I think with teacher burnout, with teachers leaving the profession, it's a concern for me. And if we lose our teachers, we lose our community. So I really want to focus on that.
So I'm going to start with things that I believe are pressing. So one item or something that I've heard repeatedly is transparency. And so one of the things I'd like to do as a school board member is to bring transparency to this community. So I don't know how many people are aware of the fact that we have open meetings. They're invited to attend. There's no need for a special invitation. Agendas are posted. When we have called meetings, those are also open meetings to discuss budgets. So there are many ways that we can carry communication onto the community, and that's something that I would like to do because I do hear, as I've met people, that there are misconceptions about what school boards do, and perhaps like it's exclusive. And this is something that's open to the community.
Question 6. Have you started campaigning? And if so, what have you learned so far from the community?
Oh, I have started campaigning. I've put up like 50 signs, I think. If you go up and down the roads, you'll see my face somewhere. So that was tough, is putting up the signs, putting the stakes in the ground. Some of the road with the dry heat, it's like driving the stake into cement. But, I decided, hey, we got to do this. I'm running for an education slot with the school boards. I got to educate people with who I am. So why don't I put my face on the billboards, and why don't I put my name on there? And we'll start with that. And then I also have the monarchy: protect, inspire, and educate. And it's the acronym PIE with an apple on top. So if you want to remember, it's apple pie. But I think we got to start with protect. We got to support our law enforcement. Uvalde has taught us that that's very important. Security, keeping our kids safe. I mean, you could do anything you want to me, but don't touch a hair on the head of one of my kids. That's where I'm coming from. That's number one. Inspire. There's teachers who are fantastic educators. They should have the ability to inspire our kids to do better. I've had teachers who inspired me and who have inspired me to become who I am today, to become better than I am. I had a music teacher. I couldn't even afford a drum set, but he told me, hey, come on down. You can borrow my drums in the school. He stayed late so I could practice and ended up becoming one of the best drummers in the city. And then in the Air Force, I was able to tour around the world because of it. And it's inspiration like that I think that we need to develop and we need to encourage in our schools. And then educate, of course. We got to have a curriculum that makes sense. It has to be open and transparent. Parents have a right to know what's being taught in the schools. And I think an open dialogue and open communication between the professional educators and the parents is something that we should welcome and not be scared of.
So I have started campaigning, and a lot of that has been meeting people in the community whom I've asked for permission to place signs on their property. And so in many cases, when I've asked for permission to place a sign, it's followed by, you need to come in and talk to me, and then we'll decide, whether or not I'll allow you to place your sign. So far, everybody that I've requested, I've been able to speak with, has given me very favorable feedback. So I have done some campaigning. I've met some really kind people. I've met some people who backed me immediately, which I appreciate. Didn't know a whole lot of people in the community. I'm meeting more and more through the contacts that I make, and I just love the networking.
Question 7. Would you have done anything different in the last budget process?
Well, that's a good question. When you look at the budget, 52.5% are the teachers. And then you have, second is the auxiliary, 23.7%. But I want to focus on the teachers. When we invest in the teachers and we get teachers who are going to do a good job for our kids, it's going to be a win for the community. I think I understand how our superintendent structured the pay structure, and we pay our teachers less in the beginning years, and then over time, if they stay within the district, it's gonna pay off because we're trying to keep teachers in the long term. But I do have I wouldn't say a disagreement, but I do have a different viewpoint. I think in the NFL, when you're looking for talent, you're gonna try to pay as much as you can for that talent. If you're in business, you want to pay up front for that talent. And I think we should have the same mentality for teachers. We should try to entice the best teachers to come to our district because our kids are worth it. And I think we need to invest in our kids. I think we should look at teacher pay a little bit closer. If it were up to me, I'd pay them $100,000 starting, but we can't do that, obviously. But I think that we should look at it and maybe have a pay structure where we can also pay them a little more, where it goes in line with the other school districts around San Antonio. Because if we have the best teachers, they shouldn't be paid the least, and that's my opinion on that. So I'd like to look at that. Also, I'd like to look at. It looks like we're doing pretty good on other funding issues, but that's my main focus is the teacher pay.
I've attended. This is probably my third budget meeting. It was a called meeting to go through the budget. In terms of what I would change, I don't have any recommendations for change. So no, there's not something that I would recommend. But what I would like to acknowledge and give credit to is that Mr. Moy, who is the CFO, actually does a fantastic job of taking very lots of items and making them very user friendly to interpret. And so one of the I think he is very skilled at that. I've sat in other budget meetings where everything went over my head. However, he has a great ability to bring that down to anybody's level so that you can understand what is being voted on, has a dependency. He does a lot of scenario planning. And so I'm actually really impressed. As I spend more time and go through more budgets, I'll be better able to answer the question about, what I would change. But for right now, I find it very transparent and easy to understand.
Question 8. Teacher retention has become an issue in our region. Some districts have trouble hiring and retaining teachers. What could be done to help solve this problem?
I think teacher appreciation is the one thing that costs $0. I think we need to highlight teachers that are amazing. I mean, we don't have to just do a Teacher of the Year award. Why can't we highlight a teacher for the grade and a teacher for the school? I mean, social media, it costs nothing to highlight somebody and take time to say thank you. And then there's times when my wife would get thank you letters from her kids and her students, and that's great. But it'd be nice to publicly praise them and just let them know that they're appreciated, that we care about them, and that we're backing them and supporting them. I think teacher retention is important as far as the district and the school board by creating funding that gives them the supplies they need, gives them the equipment that they need. Because it's ridiculous. We're not going to give, like the fire department, we're not going to let them take out a fire without a nice fire truck or a fire hose. And we're not going to give firemen faulty equipment to go in to fight the fire. Why are we going to give teachers faulty equipment and make them have to scrummage around for paper and copies and supplies? I mean, I think they need to be given the equipment so they can do the best. And that's one thing that they shouldn't have to worry about. And that's my stance on that.
So I look at teacher retention problems as being pretty similar to retention problems that we have in normal business communities. And so, what do we do in the business world and how would we do something similar in the school realm? Competitive pay. There are quite a few people who leave because pay is not competitive. So one of the things that I did is I did take a look at pay between neighboring districts, and I think that might be a good something good for the school board to continue to monitor. SCUC recently updated their compensation plan, and so in some cases they have. They're a little bit higher than Judson ISD at certain tenured years. And so I think that's great to always keep an eye on that. The other is to understand the needs of the teachers. Are they getting the support that they need from superintendents, from principals, so that they can actually teach well? And I think another very important thing is, are they in safe schools? There are a lot of House Bill 3 school safety rollouts that happened. And I think that when we have a truly safe environment, that helps teachers to teach and students to learn. And so hopefully improves the environment if that's one of the factors that leads to retention. To attrition, sorry.
Question 9. Texas House Bill 114 addresses the issue with vaping in schools. Recently, SCUCISD adopted this new law, while Judson ISD decided to skirt the law by using the District of Innovation as the vehicle. Do you believe SCUCISD is right in enforcing the law? Would you prefer the Judson approach?
Yeah, so I think it's important to follow the law. I swore an oath as in the military to uphold the Constitution, and the Constitution governs what we do. But my question is going to be, what kind of consequence are we going to have for our kids? And is it the right policy to become the vape police? Do we have the resources to do that? We're already having issues with, they've also passed a bill that requires security and security enhancements, but we don't have the funding for that. So do we have the resources to enforce a vaping policy, which wasn't enforced to begin with? Also, what is the collateral consequence on the young child? What if it's a one-time mistake? Is that going to affect them for the rest of their life? I would want to have some answers regarding that issue. My kids don't vape. They don't smoke. So personally, in my house, it's not an issue. But that doesn't mean that that's the same for every place. What about underage drinking? Do they have the same consequence? Are they getting suspended? I don't know if it's proportionate. If vaping is considered worse than underage drinking, why are they? Why is their consequence such more severe than underage drinking? Additionally, some kids are bullying. Some kids assault other kids. Do they get suspended? Do they get sent to alternative school right away? And I have heard that that's not the case all the time. So I'd like to look further into that issue because it does concern me that they're being kind of harsh of one strike you're out type policy.
That's interesting. It's a challenging question because it's a harsh penalty to be caught vaping. And I've always been a believer in parents guiding their children through, whatever it may be, that they have parental rights. However, I know that TEA released a statement saying that districts are not going to have the ability to flex the penalty, whatever the consequences are for vaping. And so I don't know enough about Judson's position, and I want to understand more about what they're doing and why and what the outcome is from that versus the straight hard position that SCUC has.
Question 10. The community is frustrated with the lack of discipline in schools. What do you think could be done to improve discipline at SCUC ISD?
Well, that's where we come with teacher support and principal support. As a board, do we support our teachers in enforcing discipline measures that are already in place? Do parents feel like we're helping our kids when there's actions that are committed against our children? Bullying is a big problem in our schools. I think enforcing consequences for bullying can help deter people who bully. I don't know how prevalent it is. I think being on the school board is going to bring more of a light to me, and I'm going to have more knowledge on that. But I think discipline is a good thing. I think if you make a mistake and you can redirect the child, it could save his life. It happened to me. I wasn't the best kid when I was growing up. I made mistakes, but thankfully I had leaders and mentors who taught me a different path. And I had good examples like my wife who taught me, hey, it's good to follow rules sometimes because you can get ahead in life if you do. And that stuck with me. And I think we could do the same with our kids.
That's an interesting question. I mean, I think first starting with the chain of command, there's, classroom issues, working at that level and going through the chain of command. I have heard, what I think chain of command type grievances come up, and people think those are board level decisions. And I think, if something works its way up to the board, actually getting help there. But I think it should start at, step one. And nothing's getting done. Let's bring visibility to this. Step two, let's go up the chain of command and try to get help with that. But I'm not sure what the consequences are right now for children that are disruptive or violent. But I've heard many stories. And so I'm not sure how schools are dealing with that.
Question 11, closing statement. What do you want the voters to know?
Okay, I want you to know that I care deeply about our district and our kids and our teachers because we're one community with Schertz and Cibolo. We matter because we matter to others. We're a light on the hill when it comes to San Antonio. People look to us. Public schools are very important. My father was a custodian. He came to this country looking for a better place to live, and he knew that the schools was a good place to have employment. When he had a heart attack, the principal came to the hospital and he asked my dad for the keys because the whole school was waiting to get inside. That's how dedicated he was. But he told us, hey, education is important and you got to do your best. And out of that, even though my dad was a custodian, my brother became a doctor in education. He got his doctorates and he's looking to become a superintendent. My other brother became a doctor of chiropractic. And then from there, we have my nephews and nieces. My niece graduated from the first school of pharmacy at the University of Texas in El Paso. And then my nephew graduated with a physics degree from Texas Tech University. And that's because of the dedication that we have for public schools. It's a launching pad of dreams. It's where the American dream can take place, where people can come from nothing, from zero economic status, and make something of themselves. And that's why it's so important to support our teachers, to support everybody that's working hard to better the dreams for our community. I think that SCUC is the best district in San Antonio. And I know that there's leaders who've worked hard to make it what it is. And I think that we have a responsibility to those leaders who sacrificed their time and their talents in the past to make it what it is, to keep it great and to keep it great for generations to come. And I think we need to continue looking forward and improving on what we have so that we can continue to be a beacon for the rest of Texas. And if our goal is not to be the best in the state, then I would invite you to go somewhere else. I think that you should be coming to our district because it's the best district and you want to be a part of a team that's part of the best team in the state of Texas. And that's my comments.
Okay, so just want to let everybody know that I'm very excited. I believe that I'll bring some motivation and some enthusiasm into my part. I commit to be prepared for anything that's being discussed in school board meetings. And I also would like to share that before I made a decision to run, I made a decision to commit to attending board meetings, and I haven't missed board meetings. I've gone to the open, to the called, and actually if I missed, I watched on YouTube. And so it's very important for me to stay informed to best represent the people in the community. And that's what I'm here for. So,
Albert Ramirez, thank you so much for coming in.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys.
Margaret, thank you for coming in today.
You're
Appreciate
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks.